Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I want to say a very big welcome to you. And if you are a returning subscriber, I am so glad that you're back here. In one of my recent posts on social media, a lot of you requested that I do a video about our relocation process. And I promised to do a video about how my family and I decided to relocate to Canada, how it's been so far, what prompted our decision to move, how we moved, what it cost, how the process was like, and generally what it's been like since we've been here. Now, there seems to be a lot of requests on this topic. I'm not sure exactly why, but I believe that people are looking to learn a thing or two. So here we are. Now, where do we start from? There are so many things to say, so I might not be able to cover everything in one video. I'll most likely be doing them in part series, so please stay connected to my channel and please keep coming back because I'll be breaking them down in details. I'll also be sharing how I started my job as a human resources professional here in Canada and how you too can transition into your desired profession either here in Canada or any other country that you desire or decide to move into. So our journey started in 2017. At the beginning of that year was when my husband brought up the idea to relocate. At first, I was not particularly interested because I was working in an okay company at the time. My husband also had a good job at the time, so I was wondering, why are we worrying ourselves? To be honest, we weren't doing so bad. But somehow we knew we could do a lot more, that we could make more impact in the international space. And a good friend of ours was already in Canada at the time and was always telling us to start the process. Honestly, my husband was more interested in the process than I was at the time. In fact, I remember telling him at the time that I don't want to leave my job, I don't want to move away from friends and families. And he just kept saying, you know what, let's just try. We can come here, and if we don't like it, we can always go back. So we started the process, and as we continued, I started to fall in love with the idea of moving to Canada. So I started doing some research, looking at places, the weather, the people, talking to other people that have been here, and I really started to like what I was seeing. Next, I started thinking about what I would like to do in terms of occupation. It didn't take me so long to decide that I was going to move into the human resources space because I've always wanted to grow in that space. It looked highly unachievable at the time because I thought, how? You want to go into a foreign land and be the one to be making decisions on things that affect employment of their citizens? Like, how? But I just had this belief that it was possible to move into a new country and not only break grounds but also pave way for people like me who are coming into an unknown territory to make it easier for them to settle down. I had no idea how to do it, but I knew that it was something that I really wanted to do. In April 2017, we wrote our IELTS exam. This is the exam that shows your proficiency in English and is also one of the requirements for the application. We both decided to write the exam just to see who's going to get the higher score. Of course, the EFICO that I have as a husband got more marks than I did. So we decided it was going to be the primary applicants. For those of you that are not very familiar with the process, the primary applicant is the person under whose name your family would apply. One major significance of the primary applicant is that you cannot land without the person. The primary applicant has to accompany the family members to land. They can then decide to go back to the country of initial residence, but the other family members cannot land without the primary applicants. Now, the thought behind selecting the primary applicant is whoever can get you the highest score in the pool. In determining your score, so many things come into play. Your educational qualification, your age, your IELTS score, or whether or not you have a sibling in Canada who resides either as a citizen or as a permanent resident. Now, if you're planning to come to Canada, I would highly recommend that you go on their official website and check the comprehensive rating system, which is also called the CRS calculator. This calculator gives you a fair idea of what your score would be. I'll also drop the link to the official website in the description box below, where you can get information about relocating to Canada. Now, in our case, my husband was just a few years above the age of 30 at the time, had his master's degree, was gainfully employed, but most importantly, had a great score in the IELTS exam. And of course, he was more inclined towards the whole idea than I was. Before I proceed further, I want to state clearly that your application is something that you can do on your own without having to involve any agent. I'll say that again. You can process your application from A to Z on your own without involving any agents. We did ours on our own without having to involve any agents. We didn't have to pay anyone. So if anyone is asking you to pay, you have to apply serious caution. Now, I'm not saying there are no agents out there, but what they're going to do for you is the same thing that you can do on your own. So why pay extra for something you can absolutely achieve on your own? Now, after receiving our IELTS results, we submitted our profile to the Express Entry pool. You will be placed in the pool with other eligible applicants, and you will be ranked based on several factors, some of which I touched on earlier. Few weeks after that time, we received our invitation to apply for permanent residency in Canada, which some people call ITA, invitation to apply. And in November of the same year, we received our passport requests. In terms of timeline, it took us about 7 months in total from writing the exam to receiving the final approval. And of course, during that period, we also did our medicals and obtained our police clearance certificates. We stayed back in Nigeria for about 6 months after receiving our final approval. During that time, we were giving out our things, selling some, saying goodbye to friends and families, tidying up our financials, talking to other people who've landed and learning from their experience, and tirelessly waiting for winter to be over in Canada, because at the time I had an 18-month-old child and I didn't want to take her from one extreme weather to another. So that's kind of what our process and timeline looked like. In my next video, I'll be talking about how you can actually go about applying and where you can get all the information you need about relocating to Canada. If you have any particular question, please let me know in the comment section and I will be responding to them all. Until next time, please take care of yourself and each other. Bye.